Hey guys! So I am so excited for today's project because it's gonna be for me. It's for me, you guys. So we have I have done a huge purge in my house, gotten rid of all kinds of clutter. We're still working on getting things organized, but we're gonna be painting and redoing my living room. I have not done my living room in like 15 years, you guys. I am so excited. And so one of the things that you guys will see over the course of the next few months will be my making projects for my own space. And so I'm super excited to share this with you guys. Um, and you guys get to have a peek kind of into like my personal style and what I like. Hi, my name is Royce Hunt Bell, owner of Roycycled Treasures. Let's get started. So for today's project, you guys, we're making wall art. I found these super cool postcard frames on Amazon. I'll be sure and put a link below in the comments. And it's like a sandwich um, frame, which I think is really cool. It has this little hinge on here. You can close it. So this one, it's gonna hang like this, and this one has little things for it to hang. Horizontally, and I cleaned the wrong one. So before I get started, let's get this cleaned up because there's quite a bit of fingerprints on there. I started cleaning the other one earlier, but let us just remove any fingerprints or anything off of this glass. But for this project, you guys, I want to decoupage the inside of the glass, and then of course I want to use some of my fronds and entomology transfers from IOD in order to put some additional, kind of like, I don't know, I don't have a collection of entomology, so I'm gonna make my own faux collection for my wall because I think they're absolutely gorgeous, and so I'm going to create my own. So I just have like a little window cleaner that I'm using on here, and then I'm gonna dry this off. And I probably should be like my grandma and have newspaper to do this, but I do not. All I have are paper towels. So now that my glass is all clean, you guys, I can get started. I know that my frame is going to hang this way because I have these little eyelets here on the top. And the recycled decoupage paper I'm using is a piece of, I've already used a portion of this paper, but this is the new Junk Journal Project Blocks decoupage paper. So I've already used the script portion on my video where I did the letter file box. And so I want to use the eye chart for this one because I want to have that eye right there in this frame. But I also know that I'm going to need to use a piece of this paper for this other frame. So I want to make sure before I make a final decision that I'm going to have enough paper for both pieces. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. Just like that. Or maybe I want this with the music notes on the bottom. Ooh, which one would you guys choose? I think I'm going to do it this way. I think I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim my paper, and I'm going to have to trim really carefully, right? Because it's pretty tight. In order for me to make sure that I have paper for both pieces, I'm going to have to trim this pretty carefully. So I'm going to actually leave the frames there and start my trim. That way I know exactly where I need to cut. That's going to be really cool in here. So let's do this one first. I'm going to set this in here, and just like I always do, you guys, I'm going to use my finger to kind of score the edges so that I know exactly where I need to trim my paper. And so for this one, I'm going to have to trim pretty closely, right? Because I don't have a lot of room to really leave any extra for error. So I'm going to trim this pretty close. I'm still going to leave a little bit of an overhang, and I'm going to have to use my razor to trim this one. Now for this project, I'm going to be using Wise Owl's Varnish. to decoupage this onto my glass. I'm going to be using my felt squeegee also to help me to make sure that I get a nice flat decoupage on this one. I really don't want to have any brush marks on my glass, so I think I'm going to use my watercolor brush, you guys. These are going to go so perfectly in my space. I'm actually working on a gallery wall. So we'll be doing multiple projects for that wall. And so I'm just looking and making sure that I've covered the entire thing. I'm being really careful not to get any other product on my brass that surrounds my glass because I only want it to stick on the glass. And so using my score marks as my guide, I am going to lay this down and make sure that my glass is covered in its entirety. And this is such a small piece, you guys, that I'm not going to do it section by section because I think that will be okay doing it all at once. I really don't want any glass showing. Dag nabbit, I'm going to do it again. Hopefully I don't leave all those marks on my glass. Although it really won't matter for this back portion because you're not going to see this part of the glass anyways. See, you guys, I make mistakes too. I should have left myself a larger margin of error on my paper, and then I wouldn't have to fuss with fitting it in here perfectly. So I shouldn't have cut it quite as tight as I did, because I do want to make sure that I don't have any blank spots on my glass. And I think that's going to do it. So I like using my felt squeegee with the glass because it really does push out any air that I may have underneath my paper. Because with glass you're going to see it more readily than you would without. And that's going to be so cool because you're going to be able to see that through the glass. And so let's let that rest and let that dry. And you guys see how on the back you don't have any bubbles or anything. It's because of the felt squeegee. It really does help you to squeeze out any of those bubbles that you would normally see that form underneath your glass. And the felt on the squeegee kind of gives you a little bit more leeway because it reduces the friction to really work with your paper to work out any of those issues that might be on the back. So I want to make sure I'm going to be decorating the right part. So this is the part that we're going to be using our transfers on, and I think we'll be okay to actually work on it this way. So what I have for my little full entomology collection is obviously the entomology transfer. I don't know if I have any more of the death moth in this piece. I think I used him already. And I really don't want to open up another one. It's okay. I'll use a butterfly. I'm trying to find something that's going to fit in my living room, which is going to be fairly neutral, you guys. But I do want it to pop a little bit. What about this guy? I think he'll be perfect. Or maybe I should go with a beetle. I think I'm going to go with a beetle. But you could use a pretty butterfly if you wanted. But I'm thinking that the beetle is going to be really good for this one. Yeah. I think putting the beetle right there. And I do want a little piece of a fern on here as well. I know. You guys think I'm crazy, don't you? If you were making something for your home, and let's say that your own your style is different from mine, that's fine. You could use some pretty things. So you could use the same process, but just use different transfers, use different decoupage paper, right? So you could still make something that's beautiful or boho or country chic. You would just make different choices than I have. Now this is one big fern right here, but I'm actually gonna just take one. I'm gonna take this little leaf, just the tip of this little leaf, and I'm gonna use that for this specific project. And maybe I cut that too short. Dag nabbit, let's do another one. We'll do this one. And I'll just cut the whole thing and then make a decision after I cut it. I was being lazy, y'all. These ferns are a little bit of a pain to cut out. But the cool thing with the transfers is once I remove the white backing, all that's left is the actual artwork. So that's all you're going to see on this piece. Okay. And I even think I'm going to take this little piece of topography that's right here and use that as well. Okay. So these are my pieces. I want to make sure that my eye is not really obstructed. So we'll have the fern there, and we'll put the beetle here, and then I think I'll put this here. I'm thinking that's how we're going to go. So let's do our fern first. And I don't like to waste any of my transfers, you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this off and leave the backing paper on because I know that I can use this little piece for another project on another day. I really like this little turn in this one though. I just wish I would have made it a little bit taller. I'm torn, you guys. What should I do? What should I do? Of course, if I do like that, I think that'll be better. Let's do that. We'll use this one. And when you get your transfers, you guys, you always get this little stick to burnish your transfers. So you'll get one of these in each of your transfers. I always save mine because I have a lot of transfer bits. And it's always nice to have one of these handy. The transfers stick to the glass so readily, and it's because the glass is so smooth. You'll find that it's a lot easier to get it to stick. And so I have my fern transfer on there, and we're going to layer our beetle right over the top of that. This is such a quick and easy project, and I think it's going to look fabulous in my living room. For the first time ever, by choice, I am painting my walls white, you guys. I don't know. But I have so many dark elements in the room that I feel like the white walls are going to really help to balance things out so the room doesn't feel dark or heavy. So what do you guys think? I vote yes. And I don't know about this one because I don't want to obstruct my eye. And if I put that over there, I feel like it's going to make it unbalanced. But we're going to put it here. I don't think it'll obstruct too much just because it's just letters. So there's a lot of space in between there. I love it. I love it. So this part is done, so we can go ahead and do that. I think this is dry now, and you guys know, so I always say there's two things to think about when you're trimming your decoupage, and I always leave one off. There are really three things that you want to think about when you're trimming your decoupage. Usually when I decoupage a square, for some reason my corners are left out. I don't know why. So the corners are generally not tacked down well, and that's where you're going to see your challenge when it's time to trim your decoupages in the corners. So the first tip is to go in and just make sure that all of your areas are tacked down really well. Not just the corners, but all of them. Even along the edge, because that's going to really help you get a nice clean trim. The second thing is to take the time to make sure that your paper is really, really dry. And then, of course, make sure that you're using a really sharp blade when you do actually trim your paper. If you try to trim the paper while it's moist, essentially it's just going to tear. So it's not going to cut, and you're not going to get that nice clean cut that you're looking for. So I'm just going in and just making sure that my corners are tacked down. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit this with my craft dryer and make sure it's dry, and then we'll come back and we'll trim. And so I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to go around and just trim any excess paper off of here. I am really focused on the sides of my project, so I'm cutting on the sides. I'm not cutting down like this. Because I can use the edge to help to guide my blade, and I'm more likely to get a nice crisp trim this way. And that's it. Now that this is all trimmed, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and just put a layer of varnish over the top of my paper. And you guys will notice I didn't paint this one white the way I normally do. I really want to maintain kind of that, I don't know, a little bit of that transparent quality of the glass. And so I didn't paint white over the back. But if you wanted, you absolutely could paint. Or probably white primer would be a better option for this one. Look at that, you guys. Isn't it so awesome? I love this piece. It's going to go perfect on my wall. And because I didn't paint white behind the paper, there is a level of transparency that still exists there. It's not completely opaque, which I am really liking that as well. So I'll finish the other piece and then I'll show you guys how it looks on my gallery wall when we get it hung up. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Royce, owner of Roycycled Treasures. If you guys are looking for any of the supplies that I used here today, you can find them at roycycled.com. If you're looking for Roycycled decoupage paper, you guys, there's a list of retailers. You can find someone near you on roycycled.com as well. If you like this tutorial, be sure and click and subscribe. If you click the bell, you will actually get alerted when we upload new videos, which we do generally once a week, sometimes twice a week. So thank you guys so much. You guys can do anything that you saw me do here today. So you guys just remember, you can do this, you can do it today. Have a blessed week.